Yo, what is up guys? This is Pedro here, and in today's video I'm going to go over 5 players that the Washington football team should target at the trade deadline, and one kind of surprise slash controversial player at the end. If you guys are new, subscribe for Washington and NFL content. So let's get right into the video. And guys, remember, I partnered with House of Hoodies. Use code Pedro for 15% off. They got some insane jersey hoodies. So even though we're most likely going to be sellers instead of buyers at the trade deadline, we might end up going after a few players if we, get some wins in the next couple weeks and, are at the top of the division, or at least close. Ron Rivera might want to trade for a couple of players at positions that we are weak at. So the first player is a tight end, and it is Gerald Everett. We just played against him, and he absolutely torched us, had about 80 yards, and there was rumors earlier on the season, before the season started, that they were considering trading him, and I think he would be a good piece for us because, he puts up some okay numbers in LA in 2019, had about 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, but you gotta think he's the backup tight end. So in Washington, after a couple weeks, he would be the starter, and I think he would contribute pretty well. He's a decent tight end. He's pretty quick, and even contributed to the run game a little bit this year on their team and got 1 touchdown. And it doesn't just have to be Gerald Everett. It could be Cameron Brate, who's on the Buccaneers, but more likely than not going to trade him now after the O.J. Howard injury. But I would like us to bring a tight end because Thomas, he did okay against the Eagles, but besides that, he's struggled a lot this year, hasn't been able to make any really contested catches, and hasn't gotten much separation, and isn't a great blocker. He hasn't been absolutely terrible, but he's been about what we expected, and I think we definitely need a better tight end, and if we do not address it at the trade deadline, we must address it at the offseason, either in draft or in free agency. But I would like to go after. He's not bad. 8 catches this year, 141 yards, had a 40-yard catch against us. And, he's a solid threat. He's definitely better than anything we have. And, who knows? He's probably, if he finishes this year off with the Rams, will finish with 500, 600 yards. And that's pretty solid. So the next player is someone that I am sure a lot of you guys really like. And it is Jamison Crowder. And a lot of you guys might be like, oh, the Jets aren't going to trade Jamison Crowder. Well, here it is. The Jets are also shopping Jamison Crowder and Poole, their cornerback, both players for banged up teams. Also for Gerald Everett, I would like to give up a late round pick. Again, a lot of these trades aren't most likely going to happen, but this is what I would do personally on players that I think we should target. But I wouldn't give anything more than a 5th round pick for Gerald Everett. On to Jamison Crowder. This guy is reliable, by the way. He has 150,000 followers, and a lot of NFL sources follow him, including Adam Schefter. But if the Jets were considering trading Jamison Crowder, I would jump on that right away because he has been an absolute beast for the Jets and when he was with us in Washington. I mean, look at 2019 with the Jets with not the best quarterback play and, not great players around him. He had 78 catches for 833 yards and 6 touchdowns. And this year so far, he's played in 3 games and has 335 yards. He's averaging over 100 yards receiving per game. That is absolutely insane. And, he would be a perfect complement to Terry McLaurin. Terry has there's no other receiver on this team that really poses as a threat to opposing defenses. Maybe Steven Sims, but he's been hurt for a lot of this year. So someone like Jamison Crowder would, make it so that the opposing defense can't just double team Terry McLaurin. They have to pay some of their attention to Jamison Crowder, and there would be more separation, and I think Jamison Crowder would help us out a ton. I was kind of upset when we let him go, but I understood it. But he is someone that would help us a lot, and I'm not sure what the price would be for Crowder. That's something that would be interesting to see. Probably a 4th or 5th round pick would do it. There's no way it's a 3rd round pick, but if they are willing to trade him, I would go ahead and give him a 5th round pick, possibly even a 4th. He would help us out a lot, and especially on offense. As you guys have seen so far, most of these players that I'm going to talk about are on offense. There is one on defense, but our offense definitely needs to improve, and I think the defense will over time, but the offense just doesn't have enough talent. But, Crowder would be a great receiving threat on the team. You already know what he can do. He's speedy, shifty, and he's just solid for you guys, for us. And he's usually healthy. Besides 2018 with us in his last season, he was pretty healthy, so I'd go ahead and give him a look. So the next player is a linebacker, and this is not necessarily just one player. I'll give you a few, but I think we should look at linebackers. We'll see if Cole Holcomb comes back, or when he comes back, how he's playing, because I think he could emerge as a pretty good linebacker. But the next guy is Hassan Reddick, who, there's been rumors about him being traded for, a couple years now. This guy, Correa on the Titans. He's a decent linebacker. Had about 5 sacks last year, but hasn't done much this year. Or Gerard Davis from the Lions. One of those guys, some veteran linebacker. I would like us to go after someone, either a linebacker or a safety. I haven't seen many safeties come up in trade talks, but we already know the biggest position of need really on the defense is free safety. Actually have been pretty good, so I'm happy with our cornerback play somewhat, but our safety play and our linebacker play needs to get better. So someone that's better than Bostic, Hassan Reddick, is definitely better than Bostic. And these other guys, Gerard Davis, Correa, they could be better, and I think we got to bring someone else because so far the linebacking group has not been good. Kevin Pierre-Louis has been alright, but besides him, no one else has flashed. And then obviously Reuben Foster has been put on IR from the start of the season, so he hasn't been playing at all. So I would look at a linebacker / safety, and that's what I would do on defense. So now on to the last player before we get onto the controversial player is Riley Reef, and he's come up in trade talks again. This was a Vikings fan who said this. He came up with a few trades that could possibly happen. He said Riley Reef to Dallas, Anthony Harris to Cleveland, or Kyle Rudolph to New England. I don't see them trading Kyle Rudolph, but Riley Reef, if we're seriously looking at winning now, I would seriously consider going after Riley Reef. He's played pretty good this year in 5 games, and the thing is with the Vikings, they're probably going to be more sellers than buyers. I'm not completely sure what their record is, but I'm pretty sure it's 1-4, so they're not going to make the playoffs unless something crazy happens. And they have the Packers and the Bears in their division, so either way, they're not going to make the playoffs. And Riley Reef would be a really good replacement for Jerron Christian, or not even a replacement, just better player at the left tackle position. And today Sadiq Charles is playing left guard for a bit, so they might play him at left guard instead of left tackle. We'll see, but I would consider bringing in an offensive lineman to help out the team. And Riley Reef, that he's probably not going to be with the team after this year. I think they drafted Ezra Cleveland. He might replace Riley Reef after this season is over, and I think we could trade for him, late round pick, 5th round pick maybe. His value isn't great just because he's going to be a free agent after this season. So now on to the controversial one, and I am not saying we should trade for him. This is a hypothetical, and I want to ask you guys what you guys think about this one, because this is, like I said, pretty controversial. So the next guy, Matt Ryan, and he has come up in trade talks, or Arthur Blank, the owner, said that he would explore the possibility of trading anyone on the roster, including Matt Ryan, and he said he isn't, 100% to be a plan of the future for the Falcons. Something like that, he said that. So they would possibly entertain a trade for Matt Ryan, and of course, they would have to get a Godfather offer for him. But I want to hear what you guys think about Matt Ryan possibly coming here. So far, 63% completion percentage this year, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, nothing special but solid quarterback play. And Matt Ryan on this roster or next year would get us to the playoffs, in my opinion. He's good enough to help out your other players, get them better. Last year didn't have a great year, 26 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, but the year before, 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he's kind of like off and on every year. I mean, there's a pretty clear pattern right here. Starting from 2015, had a not so great year, had an elite, amazing year. I think that might have been his MVP year. Then had a not so great year, then had an elite year, then had an okay year, and it's looking like he's going to have a pretty good year this year. So I would consider, we'll see. It's going to be a lot to trade for him, so I probably wouldn't do it. But, if it's not that bad and you think you can win with Matt Ryan, then I would consider it because it's a guarantee that he's going to at least be a solid quarterback for you. But again, you have to factor in the age because he is not young at all. I think he's like 34 or something like that. So I would probably stay away from that. But besides that, all the other ones are players that I would explore. The Matt Ryan one is more a question for you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to think. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and let me know what player you want to trade for down in the comments below. Peace.